All right. Good afternoon. I think it is time. It is 3:30 UAE time. I'm broadcasting from Dubai. So I would like to welcome you all. I see you. Some participants are joining us as we speak. What I'll do, I'm gonna maybe wait or waste your time since you are on time, and maybe we can get started. The webinar is being recorded, so anytime you can come back and see it on our website or the YouTube channel. But let me get started by saying welcome. It is a great pleasure to be here with you today. I actually wanted to talk about this topic a long time ago. I notice a trend in the industry where many are focusing on competencies. The quality professional indeed is faced by a number of competencies that they need to master. However, I did notice a gap or something that we need to address when we are talking about the competencies of quality professionals. So I wanted to share my experience. I wanted to share with you some quality models that has actually been adapted to actually include a new competency, which is the role of the quality professional as a leader. Not just as a quality specialist, not just as a quality manager, a competency that is needed to lead an organization into the quality culture. So with that quick introduction, we will talk about the importance of why we need to have this discussion. But let me get started by saying that first, the webinar, as I mentioned here, a quick note that it is being recorded and will be shared on Merck website and YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, please send them on the chat, and I can answer them after the end of the presentation. So if you have any question, just jot them down on the chat and I will go through them and then answer each of your questions. Now, to get started, here is what we have for you today. First, we'll be talking about the importance of the discussion, just a reflection on my history and why did I want to address this topic. Very important topic in the life of a quality professional. And then we'll talk about some of the conventional roles, responsibility of a quality professional. So we will talk about these conventional roles, responsibilities, and then we will add to that the new role of how a quality professional should become a leader. Now, what does that mean? We will actually bring some studies, some papers, for example, what we call the metamorphosis of a quality professional. So there were some articles and even journals that actually talked about this topic. So we will bring what they said in this matter. The evolution of the skills, how the evolution of these skills have actually happened during the last 10, 20 years. And then we will look at some models for leadership that we can apply ourselves as quality professional. I do expect maybe many of the people who are attending could be coming from the quality background or watching this webinar at a later stage, and they will be interested to know that it needs more than the technical competencies to become a successful quality leader. And I'm sure if some of you have already experienced in this field, they will actually agree with me that there is more than just the technical competencies. So what are the required leadership skills? We will look at the American Society for Quality model. We will look at Jack Welch model. So we will try in our short time to maybe look at some of these models and how they can help us as quality professionals. And then maybe we will leave maybe 10 minutes for Q&A, and we can take your notes or your feedback on any topic that you would like us to address. So just a quick brief on my company or the company I represent. It's called Merck Training and Consulting. It is one of the leading regional companies in the field of corporate training and consulting. We actually started, the company started in 1958. I wasn't there in 1958, if you're just wondering. And it evolved from the offices in Beirut to offices in Athens to Dubai. Dubai became the head office, although we have offices right now in Saudi, and we have also a number of satellite representation all over the Middle East and even Africa. We look into training topics. We have around 26 categories. We have over 300 topics in terms of the courses. We offer public courses and in-house courses, and we offer consulting and coaching services. So we've been around. We offer all these new improved topics, and whether you are in quality, whether you are in project management, whether you are in finance, basically we've got many of the topics that can help the careers of people. Here's a quick look of the portfolio of courses that we offer. As you can see, from customer service to business continuity to construction to IT, all you have to do is check the website and you'll see the relevant topics that we have. We also offer courses under accreditation or certification. For example, the American Society for Quality, the Heriot-Watt, we have an affiliation with Heriot-Watt University in Scotland. We have also programs under the ILM or the SHRM, the HR. So we've got many of our courses that are endorsed, accredited, or sometimes you have to pass an exam or maybe run a project to prove your competence at the end of the courses that we offer. This is me, Fawzi. And I come from an engineering background. My bachelor's was in civil engineering, and this is where I got my passion for quality control and quality management. Hence, I continued and pursued my industrial engineering degree at the master's level. I also did my PhD in business administration, but with a focus on operational excellence, i.e. Lean Six Sigma at Heriot-Watt University. I worked in a number of organizations since moving to Dubai. I used to work and live in Ottawa, the Canadian capital, and moved to Dubai in 2004. I worked with KPMG. I worked with BSI, British Standard Institution. I was the quality manager at IBM/GBM and Talal Abu Ghazali Consulting Company and Al Nisr Al Arabi in Jordan. So as you can see, a little bit of quality mixed with technical engineering, and this is what I've been practicing as a consultant, as an auditor, as a manager for quality. And this is where I would like maybe to bring my experience in this field. What else? That's me. Here is where I start with a personal story from 1998. So this is me, if you believe it or not, young guy, still have my black hair then. And this is receiving an award from the CEO of GBM/IBM at that time. And you can see I was very pleased because it was something that was a surprise to me when I received it at the town hall meeting. And what happened then, let me tell you the story. So I was this young quality specialist moving into the ranks at IBM. And I was basically, focusing on my competence, building my competence, my certification. I just received my IRCA lead auditor certification. I also got my ASQ quality manager / operational excellence. This was in 96, actually. So I was just all the way focusing on competence, training, getting the certification. I had a manager who was Scottish. And one day he called me into his office. He said, Fawzi, you're planning to do the audits. You're doing that. I said, yes. And I was so excited. He said, well, that is not enough. I said, but, I know the competence of engineers. I know the competence of quality. I did the IRCA. He said, no, this is not enough. I was getting a little bit frustrated because I was showing him my competence, technical competence, and he was telling me, no, this is not enough. He was much older than me at that time, of course, and he was telling me, look, it's not enough because there are other areas that you need to show competence at. And I said, okay, what do you mean? He said, you need to show the passion. You need to show the leadership skills to transform the culture into something that we call the quality culture. And I said, well, I didn't study that. I mean, is that part of the certification? Yeah, I remember talking about leadership in the quality manager body of knowledge, but then how do I do it? How do I portray myself? How do I become a transformational leader? How do I move into the leadership skills? So he said, well, you've asked the right person. And he started coaching me on how to show the leadership skills. I mean, yeah, I have the technical knowledge, but that's what I discovered at that time, that it was not enough. And hence the journey started for myself. And this is what I wanted to actually bring to you. A quality professional has the responsibility of transforming the culture. So it's all about the culture. And when you define culture, you're talking about people, you're talking about tradition, you're talking about the beliefs, and overcoming that resistance to change. So when you think about how do you do that, how do you start to inspire, how do you start to actually overcome the diversity? And many of us that work basically maybe in certain companies, we are working in a multinational company, we've got many nationalities. I worked with over 40 nationalities with IBM at that time. So I had the tough challenge of working and inspiring people to actually adopt the quality principles that we basically talk about all the time. Now, so hence the importance of our discussion. And I'm saying, yes, technical competence is a must, right? Knowing your tools, knowing your methodologies, understanding how quality models are built, whether you're talking about the ISOs 9000 and all the rest. But I'm talking about something which is maybe, I'm not going to say more important, but it is as critical as these technical competencies. And hence, that's where I wanted to mention and talk about this topic in this webinar. Now, maybe people who are working in the quality field, they will tell me, I am the auditor, I am the internal auditor, I am the lead auditor, I'm a quality specialist, I'm a QC, quality control, I'm more of a QA. I look into the proactive and failure modes and risk analysis. I am more into the ISO, I am the management rep. I am more into continual improvement, adopting Lean and Six Sigma, more of the operational excellence. So you're basically taking these different conventional roles and responsibilities. Now, what if we need another role? What if we need to put the hat of a leader to try to apply these concepts within an organization? And this is what the topic is all about in this webinar. So how do we bring that quality professional to become that leader that is able to transform the culture of an organization to a quality culture? This is the question, or this is the research question if I put my academic hat on. Now, many studies, papers, discussions have happened in this topic. Many have defined, they actually studied leadership, and they said, okay, what is leadership? How do you define it? Is it servant leadership? Is it ability to communicate in different mediums? Is it the inspiring model? I mean, there are so many, and all you have to do is Google and get the books, and from the Harvard to all different type of organization have been discussing leadership. Is it about your ability to produce more leaders within your organization, leaders that actually can drive quality? Have you ever tried to basically sell quality to other departments and move them to become leaders in their own quality description or role? It's not about using your authority. It's about taking care of people that are under you. It's all about what? It's all about giving credit to people who are basically where credit is due, and not about taking credit. So people sometimes struggle. They say, okay, I'm a great quality guy, and I know the technical competencies in and out, but how do I portray myself to become a leader? What are the behavior skills that we can look at? Can we look at different models, and we can use them maybe basically to portray or learn from them. Now, there are two questions here, and we're trying basically to address them as well. I mean, supervisors, managers would look and say, look, I have the authority. I'm given the authority by my management because I'm an appointed manager, and I can use this authority to drive people to do what I want because I am the manager. Now, a quality professional sometimes does not have the authority because he or she might be working with other departments where you have different managers, where you have different leaders, and you basically cannot really impose sometimes, unless, I mean, you're supported by the top management, which should be the case, and you can impose what you want. But we're talking about something else. We're talking about the ability to inspire people to follow quality and to become champions for quality, not because you say so, it's because they become believers in it. And this is the competence that we're talking about. Now, if we think about it, should we focus more on building leaders or managers for quality? Which is more important for an organizational success? I mean, we're not really undermining the role of quality managers. We're not saying that. Maybe a quality manager is the first step where you should become a competent quality manager, master the skills of management, master the skills of quality. But maybe we need to add an additional role, a complementary role, the leadership role. So I'm saying here, maybe organizations should focus on both leaders and managers in the same weight. And this is where we can bring this new discussion here. Now, I hope you have some access here. I wanted to put a poll and launch this one. So if you can just pick your answer. Let's see. So leadership is an acquired skill. Do you agree? I mean, some people might say, no, it has to be in your DNA. All right. Is it something I mean, is there a test I can send you to a lab and maybe get a positive reading on, oh, you've got the leadership DNA or the gene. So here we go. We're going to work with you. If not, then we might have an issue. I see some people putting maybe, some people putting maybe they don't agree with it. Again, if you think about it, you can actually consult with the studies, with the papers, because if you say no, and this is where I think the answer, if I can share with you some of the discussion on this topic. So I think we got some people saying maybe. So let's see why they said maybe, and we can move it to the next one. So people believe sometimes that it has to be something because some people cannot acquire it. Okay, all right. So there is, even if you try, even if you send them to Harvard Leadership School, as you said, Jihad here, I see that in the chat, you know, well, studies tell you there is something in the genes. You know, we have to agree on that. I mean, you can go to schools, young children, and you can see from their behavior, they did not go into a leadership course. They did not go to Harvard leadership course. They basically, you can see that they are inspiring. People are following them. They have something in their genes, and I totally agree with that. But should we just say, you know, either you have it or you don't, and no matter how you try, you will not get it. There is another sort of discussion that is happening, and I think even His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid mentioned that sometimes it's the willingness. It's the willingness. So I might even have the gene, but I don't have the willingness to become a leader, because there is some effort that you have to do. There's something that you have to actually change or maybe adapt or tweak in your behavior. So there is the genes, I agree. There is the training or the additional skills that you might have, but there is also the willingness. Are you willing to become a leader? Here is the magical question. And I think we will reflect on that later on once we look at also some models like the Jack Welch model. But some people might, it's a myth or a truth here. I'm presenting to you the myth, and I'm saying, if you look here, oops, I think I'm not getting it. All right, let's see if I get it here. What's happening here? The slide. Oh, here we go. I just skipped them. All right. So some people believe that leaders, they're the CEO. You have to become the CEO to become a leader. Well, if you look at Robin Sharma, there is a book that he has, and it's called Leading Without a Title, right? So sometimes the title is not the leader. The top guy is not the leader. The CEO is not the leader. It's about maybe more about the behavior they exhibit and how they actually can inspire others as well. And this is where it's not obtainable by a title. Remember, we're talking about a myth here. We are also talking here about the charisma that basically people can look at. I mean, is there an inborn charisma? Can you develop that? There are different schools, but again, I think we cannot rule out that if someone wants to become a leader and they want to put the effort, we cannot tell them, no, it's not in your genes, and no matter how you try, it's not going to happen. Yeah, we can discuss. I know people have different opinions. As you see here, I see some people saying exactly the passion, but it's not enough. Absolutely, it's not enough. So maybe there are a number of different characteristics that maybe we can put together, and we're going to call them the 4 E's as Jack Welch mentioned, and some of them can be learned, others cannot be learned. So we will talk about that very interesting topic that you mentioned and discussion. However, if we want just to put a definition for leadership, so there were 54 leadership experts from 38 countries. They came up with this definition. They said it's your ability, and we're putting it in the context of quality, right? It's your ability to influence the culture of an organization, to move into a quality direction, into a quality mission, the ability to motivate people to follow up on their plans, to do what they're supposed to do in their procedures if you're doing this ISO audit, and enabling others. I think the key word here is enabling others, right? To contribute toward the effectiveness. Because I have to tell you something, even if you are the superman, superwoman of quality, you will not be able to deploy quality in an organization. I'm telling you that from experience. You need to enlist the help and cooperation of people within your organization. How do you do that? You need to make them believe in it. You need to make them contribute toward the effectiveness and the success of that quality model. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And it is indeed listed as one of what we refer to as the 7 principles of quality management. It is the involvement and the participations of people within your organization. So as a leader, you need to make people believe in your mission, in what you're trying to actually sell in that organization. I use the word sell because eventually we're all sales people. Now, if you look at even certain descriptions, you can see that we're not using the word manager, educational leader, political leader, religious leader, scout leader. The word leader, community leader, labor leader, business leader. Now, so quality leader or quality manager, right? We use the quality manager, but shouldn't we become quality leaders? And that's what I'm trying maybe basically to remind everyone here, that we have a role as leaders in our organization to try to sell the quality mission. Now, this is coming from a paper called The Metamorphosis of a Quality Professional from Westcott. And, they try to compile a list of what is required for a quality manager / leader. Some refer to the competencies in knowledge, Some refer to the experience, to the attitude, to the aptitude. They're all becoming part of what we need to develop someone who is a quality professional. Now, is this enough? Well, if you look at this slide, you can see here that we need maybe, yes, technical competence, HR competence, we need people competence, which basically overlaps with our topic on leadership. So to become a competent quality, let's say, professional, you need to master all these skills. And if we look at technical competence in the next slide, you can see here that, of course, yeah, I'm a competent lead auditor. I mastered the ISO 9000 to the 16949 to 14001. I mean, there are 37,000 standards, right? ISO standards. And I probably, know 15 of them by heart. Now, is that enough? I've mastered lean. I can do value stream mapping. I do Six Sigma. I know how to apply the 5S in our warehouse, or I do the just in time. Good for you. I mean, is this enough? Well, according to this is not enough. You need to complement your skills with other additional skills. So are we talking about people skills? Are we talking about leadership skills? And this is where, if you look here at management/leadership skills. So what style would you be using with your staff, with your other quality champions? What type of style would you use in a diversity culture? I mean, this is what we have sometimes in certain areas. I mean, the Middle East, the countries around us here, you're working in a culture where you may not have one nationality or two nationalities. You may have 15, 20, 30 of them. So how do you sell quality to all of them, coming from different background, different culture, different beliefs? Well, this is a challenge for this quality professional, and this might be listed under the leadership skills. Now, if you think about it, you've got three pillars that we need to do very well. We need to do very well in management and leadership, establishing the vision, the communication. All of this is under management/leadership. You need to become also very good now in technical. I mean, the industry 4.0, which is brings me into the topic of quality 4.0. And my next webinar, I will be talking about quality 4.0. It's another set of technical skills that you need now to master as a quality professional. Yes, critical thinking, problem solving, statistics, failure modes, root cause analysis, perfect. But things are moving along, and now we find ourselves that we need to upskill and polish our skills to move into that industry 4.0 era. People, and this is where change management, culture, which basically reflects as well with leadership skills. So there is an evolution of skills. It's not enough right now just to tell me that I have studied Lean, Six Sigma, quality tools, ISO. There is more into it if you want to move up the ladder and to be perceived as a quality leader. Jack Welch, one of the former CEOs of GE, well known for his leadership style, for his adaptation of the Six Sigma at GE, General Electric. He actually had something about leaders. And this is how he looked at leaders in GE. And he called them the 4 E's of leadership. He used to test people. He used to observe people from these 4 perspectives. First of all, if you think about it, we need to have someone who has energy. Interesting. All right. So someone that can actually looked at as a source of energy. For if you are the quality leader in an organization, people will be looking at you and say, okay, does this person have the energy when they talk, when they walk? Do they emit energy related to their topic? Now, it could be as simple when you start to walk with someone. And I want you to reflect on maybe someone in your organization. You need sometimes to really walk fast with them, right? So yes, so to walk with them, you need to have the energy to follow up with them. They're always with that energy. And I'm saying it may be positive energy, of course. Now, not only that, the second E talks about what? Talks about the ability to energize others. So a good quality leader needs to basically be able to move that energy to others. Can you convince someone with the mission of quality? I mean, this is maybe sometimes your job. Can you tell someone why implementing or deploying an ISO 9001 model is good for the organization? You need to energize people, and it's very similar to the sports team when the coach sits with the team, and then there's this energy that is spread and it energizes everyone before the game. Well, that's exactly what we want in a quality leader. The third one is about edge, competence. I mean, work on yourself. And this is maybe more about the technical, right? Because someone has to see you as a quality leader that understands quality, has the right certification, if you may, has the right experience. You need to have that edge and competence so people can listen to you and they are then inspired by what you're saying. Jack Welch also believed that someone who is a leader need to do what? They need to execute. So the fourth E is E for execution. They need to deliver results. You need to be able to deliver the results that we want from you. So this is something that, Jack Welch called the 4 E's on how he would look at leaders. Now, there is, I think, a question for you, and this is another model for Forbes. I think one of the participants here, I think Jihad, you mentioned passion, right? And here's passion. So where do you get passion, right? I mean, is there a course, a training course that it says instilling passion in quality leaders? Is there a course like that? Is passion something which is built in, as you mentioned? Is it coming from the genes? Can I develop it? It's an interesting question. We'll see now Jack Welch answer to this. Walking the talk, being a role model, having that vision to be able to communicate to others. And absolutely. So can you show that passion in the quality field, since we're talking about a quality field and quality leaders? Can people sense it in your talk that you really have a passion to apply quality? This is how leaders are perceived. When they have a passion for something, people can sense it in their talk and how they portray themselves. So there is something here, I think, Paul, let me try to maybe do this one as well. The question here, okay. So going back to our friend Jack Welch, which of the following leadership traits, as per Welch, cannot be taught? You can pick more than one. So going back to the idea of the genes, DNA, things we can get in a training course, we can educate ourselves, and things that people believe that maybe either you have it or you don't. Which ones? Okay, yes, all right, interesting. Positive energy, ability to energize others. I can see here that, let me show you some of the results here. Okay, so as you see here, I think positive energy, ability to energize others, it's, as you said, it cannot be taught, right? So it's an interesting question here. So are you saying that if it cannot be taught, then certain people cannot be leaders? Is that the conclusion that we should come up with? Either you have it, do you have a positive energy? Can I attend training courses? Can I change myself? to have that positive energy? Can I learn from other people to see how they conduct themselves and how they energize others? Maybe some people will agree and say, yeah, I can observe others, I can copy them, copy and paste, as you said, Jihad, or I can fake it till I make it. I think this was the title of one of the TED Talks, fake it till you make it. Is it possible? And then once you start doing it, it becomes a habit and then becomes you. Different schools, right? Yes, I can see that. It's never a strict no or a strict yes, but it goes back to the one thing. Are you willing? Do you have the willingness in you to start working on that journey? So, all these sciences about leadership and about, it's not a strict yes or no, sometimes maybe, but it's interesting if to ask the question, is it about the willingness to actually do something about it and look into it? So here is Jack Welch. And as we've seen from the poll, you can see here that the first one is positive energy, and then ability to energize other, edge, and talent to execute, which is execution, and then passion. So here they added another one, which become 5. And as you answered, I think which 2 can be taught. So I think we can agree that edge, maybe decision making, problem solving, execution, getting things done, priorities, project management, managing ISO. Yeah, agreed. Only 2 can be taught, which leaves us that there is 1, there is 2, and there is 3. Wow. So passion, where do we buy it from? Where do we get it from? Interesting. Energize, ability to energize, to emit positive energy. And we're talking here with the context of quality and having positive energy in the first place. So are we saying that not everyone can become a leader? Well, I don't want to answer that question because I know many people will sometimes attack and say, what are you saying? Should we cancel, scrap all leadership courses then? And then just run a DNA test and check whether your genes have it or not. And then if yes, then we will send you to these schools. I mean, I don't want to answer that with that answer and then get into trouble. But as you can see, we need a quality leader that can show passion towards the quality concepts, towards what they're doing, having the ability to do things, to apply, deploy quality models, knowing their stuff, competence, edge, and ability to work with others, to release their positive energy and get them or inspire them to follow quality models. And then you have, of course, the positive energy that is the foundation, because if you don't have it, how can you energize others? So very interesting model here that comes in, and we're talking about how to start portraying ourselves in a leadership role. The American Society for Quality, yeah, some people might surprise us and trigger the leader inside them. Absolutely. We have real born to energize and change a culture. Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's all valid points, absolutely. But I mean, for the sake of putting things into perspectives and putting maybe a structure, the American Society for Quality, in their body of knowledge for the certified management or manager of quality, organizational excellence, they try to define the body of knowledge under the right knowledge that you should have to get into leadership. So they had organizational structure, the ability to understand how the organization works, the culture, and the ability to define the competence. And you can see here they talk about leadership and how they influence the organizational direction and purpose, describe how managers work together. Change management is another area of interest for leaders. and then leadership techniques, right? Whether you are using the different models for the situational leadership, ability to work with different people, critical thinking, influence, empowerment, teams, leadership and teams processes, and eventually they mention technology as quality 4.0. So there is some guidance from some of the body of knowledge that comes from the American Society on Quality on what we need to actually work on as the competencies to become leaders in that sense. So they try to make it more tangible, so we can transform it into something we can study or we can prepare to. Even Daniel Goleman, the authority on emotional competence, they brought emotional intelligence into the formula, and they said, to be a leader, you need to be emotionally intelligent. And what does that mean? Well, you need to become self-aware, self-regulated, motivated, empathy for others, and social skills. So as a quality leader, your work will be with others. It's about deploying quality procedures, working on continual improvement projects with other departments. So I need to work with others, and we all work with people, and we know that sometimes things do not go as planned, and we have different personalities. We need to become, first of all, self-aware of our own capabilities, our emotional intelligence, and start regulating and then motivating and then working with others and understanding where they're coming from. So this is another area that's been allocated to this discussion. You need to care for others to help change the collective culture. Absolutely, not just change, but change with quality. Absolutely, because yes, we're talking about the context of quality in this sense. Well said. And His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, I mean, looking at the leadership from this perspective, he's just trying to answer the question we asked in the beginning. There is no need to ask whether it is inherent or acquired, but rather whether one wants to become a leader or not. So it's the willingness, right? So people say, oh, is it inherent? Is it in the genes? Well, maybe the question, as His Highness is mentioning here, whether people want to become a leader. Do you want to become a leader? Then you might have a very good chance if you focus on some of the elements that we have in place. It's a very interesting topic, and when I think about the journey I had in my quality experience and background, I can say that I honestly needed lots of leadership skills during the journey. Technical, I wouldn't have succeeded. Doing your IRCA, being the master black belt in Six Sigma, lean, certifications, you name it, quality engineer. But was it enough? I can tell you from experience, it was not enough. And as my Scottish quality manager in IBM at that time, and he told me, this is not enough, Fawzi. You need to actually develop more skills. And I was, keen on developing these skills to realize that they fall under the leadership skills. So I really wanted to do that, and that maybe was the driver for me to actually offer this quick webinar. Now, we do talk about this in our courses under the Certified Quality Management Professional, under the ASQ courses as well, where we have allocated a module on developing the leadership skills of quality professional, because it's not enough technical, but we need to bring that other perspective as well. Basically, that concludes the discussion or the topic I wanted to share. And I can see here some of the discussions point on that. Exactly how many people know the technical but can sell and benefit business. And that's absolutely, absolutely, I agree with you, Jihad. I totally agree with that. And that's where, when we say a leader for organizational excellence, and it's not an easy job. I can tell you from experience, a leader means working with people, inspiring people, working with their beliefs, right? Values. Sometimes some people I've met, they don't believe in quality, right? So that's where I wanted to bring this topic. If you have any questions, let me know on the chat, and I will be more than glad to answer your questions. Well, thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for taking time. I hope this was useful, and I look forward to meeting you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your comment. Thank you very much, Shihad. I look forward to meeting you in person, hopefully in the future. I think also some of you are in the quality field, so that's a pleasure to talk to some quality professionals and just share some of the ideas that we have. Thank you again, and we will see you on future webinars or future courses at Merck. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.